All right, welcome back everybody. So with this vlog, I am going to do something a little different. I was inspired by Emmy's book channel, and I will link her channel down below. But basically, she was reading a manga, and the manga had recipes in it, and so she created a couple of the recipes. So I found some books that are fiction books that have recipes in them, and I decided to create them. And I also read the books, of course. So the first book that is on the agenda here is Natalie Tan's Book of Luck and Fortune by Roselle Lim. And so I already read this one, and it was really good. It was really cute and sweet and had a lot of recipes in it, which was great. So this follows a woman, Natalie, who grew up in Chinatown in San Francisco, but she had a very tumultuous relationship with her mother. Her mother was agoraphobic, so she felt very isolated growing up because she, didn't receive a lot of help from the other people in her community, and she was pretty much all alone except for her mom, and she would go out and run errands for her. And so she has been traveling around the world since she left San Francisco, and within the first few pages she finds out that her mom has died. So she has to go back to her apartment and, plan the funeral and all that stuff. But while she's there, I totally forgot. So another part of the reason that she left is because she really wanted to, I guess the main reason she left is because she really wanted to be a chef. And her grandmother, her mom's mom, had been a chef and had owned this really popular restaurant in their community, and her mom didn't want her to go down the same path. So she's come back and basically decides to try to reopen her grandmother's restaurant, not only for herself but also to help the community, because the community has kind of fallen into rough times. They're not getting as much tourism as they used to, and there are some sharks in the water that are trying to buy up all the shops in the neighborhood and gentrify. So her grandmother's restaurant was known for really bringing the community together and kind of holding them together. So she wants to try to do that herself. And there is a little bit of romance in this book as well. And yeah, like I said, I liked it. I thought it was really cute, but it also touched on some really heavy stuff. And I loved all the characters. They were all just really great people, especially once you get to learn kind of what their motivations are and what they're going through in their lives. I really loved the main character. She was just she was just really herself. And overall, I think I'm going to give this book 3.5 stars. So I will catch you guys in the next clip with one of her recipes, which I decided to make. Okay, this is me crouching down so I can see you guys. So there were 2 recipes in this book that were vegetarian, and I'm vegetarian, so I was looking at both of those. I wasn't able to find ingredients for one of them, so I'm just going to be making one recipe today. It's watercress soup, which from what I've seen is a Cantonese recipe, and the book doesn't have actual amounts in it, so I got a little help from a website where I found their own version of a recipe. The website is called The Walk of Life, and the recipe is by Bill, but I will post the link down below if you guys want to try it. So here's my setup, and the first step that she has in the book is to make a chicken or pork stock. Oh no, just chicken. So I guess that's not technically vegetarian, but I got veggie stock, so that's what we're gonna be using. And I'm going to be doing half of the recipe, half of Bill's recipe, which called for 4 cups of stock. And then you boil it for 90 minutes is what Bill said, but that's when you're trying to make the stock, so I'm not completely sure because that's already done, but I do need to add in this ginger. So I think I'm just gonna boil it. I need 4 slices, thin slices, and then I think I'm just gonna boil it for 30 minutes before the next step. All of this is, I'm sure it'll be great because the ingredients sound great. I've never had watercress before, but it smells good, so I'm excited, and I love ginger. All right. Okay, I lied to you guys. It's 2.5 slices of ginger. So we're gonna put this in our soup, and then I'm going to bring it to a boil, and I will then work on the watercress while this is boiling. I'm also a little confused about this because I've never, like I said, had or cooked with watercress before. The recipe in the book says to just throw the bunch in, but Bill's recipe on the Walk of Life says to cut off the thick stems, but it seems like all of the stems, I mean, it doesn't seem like they get much thinner. Well, I guess they do, but I don't know when the line ends. Some of the leaves are down here. So I'm just gonna kind of cut where I think would be a good spot, and we'll see.
bensound.com.
Okay, I changed my mind on waiting 30 minutes for it to simmer because I'm kind of worried I'm going to lose all my stock. So we're going to go to the next step, which is to add the watercress. And honestly, I might need to add water to this anyway because this is a bunch and I don't know if it's all going to get covered by the stock. But it says to add the watercress and then a few drops of sesame oil, which I do have right here. It's more than a few drops, but that's fine because I like sesame oil. And then finally it says to boil until the watercress rises to the surface, but it's not covered completely, so I guess I should add water, which makes me kind of sad because then it probably won't taste as strong, right? But it'll still be good. Yeah, I'm gonna add a little water. Okay, it said to boil it until the watercress rises to the surface, but a lot of it was already floating when I put it in there. So I think I'm gonna wait like 5 more minutes and then take it out. I mean, it's been boiling for a little bit. I don't know if I boiled it enough or too much. The broth is nice, but the watercress itself is a little bitter. And other than that, doesn't have much flavor. I'm gonna consult my recipe, my online recipe on the Walks of Life, and see if they have any advice. Might do some Google searches, and I will update that for you guys. But otherwise, thanks for coming along for my first recipe of this vlog. And I definitely think that the recipe given in the book and the recipe I found online probably were really amazing, led to some really amazing dishes. I am not a great cook, and I was using ingredients that I didn't really know a lot about. So let me try it one more time. Not sure. But yeah, I'm still glad I did it. Now I have a bunch of soup for the next couple days. So I will catch you guys with the next book and the next recipe. Next up, I read Body and Soul Food by Abby Collette. It is a Books and Biscuits mystery. It's the first in this new cozy mystery series. I love the cover. Super cute. I am gonna give this book 3 stars. It was cute. It was a cozy mystery, like I said, which really isn't normally my thing. I think I prefer my books to have a little bit more drama and darkness, and generally cozy mysteries are just that. They're cozy, and even though there is murder, it's not as serious as a typical murder mystery or thriller book. So I think that was part of it. And I also didn't really like one of the main characters that much. So what this book is about is 2 twins, Kobe and Keaton, and they were separated when they were 2 years old, and they find each other years later, over 20 years later, and they basically decide to open up a soul food cafe / bookstore together. So Kobe is a really amazing chef, and Keaton just really loves books. She's worked as a librarian. So they decide to team up and start this new business. And of course they find a body. I won't give away who it is because you don't find out until partway through, but they decide to try to figure out who the murderer is, and things kind of become more urgent when the main detective on the case starts to suspect them as the murderers. So, I mean, the characters were fine. It's just that Keaton, I felt like the way she was written was just very over dramatic. Like, I just felt like there were times where she was drawing conclusions that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, and then freaking out about these fears that she has, which, like I've said before, I have anxiety. I understand, like, taking things way out of proportion, but I don't know, in this instance I just felt like it wasn't that believable. Like, they had a few different people that they were thinking, oh, there's a couple potential motives for these people, not even necessarily evidence. And she just goes around yelling at them and asking why they killed the person. And it's like, you don't have any evidence. Why? I don't know. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. But otherwise, I did like their close relationship with each other. I liked that this was based on a family relationship instead of a romance. I don't know what the other books are going to be like. That was just one little thing that I was like, just seems a little bit of like over the top. Not, maybe it was played up more for laughs, whereas I wanted something that was a little more serious and realistic in the sense of like how the characters acted and stuff, I guess. But I am excited for the recipe in this book, and I will meet you guys in the kitchen to tell you more about it. Okay, so for this Books and Biscuits mystery, I decided to make their biscuits, the Books and Biscuits signature biscuits. And I don't know why, but I'm so much more nervous I was nervous for the last recipe too, but I'm really anxious for this one. Maybe it's because I've had biscuits and I have such high expectations. We'll see, I've never homemade biscuits before, so fingers crossed. So I preheated the oven to 425. I have butter chilling in the freezer. That's almost ready, but the first thing to do is to combine the dry ingredients into a large mixing bowl. So we have 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and 3/4 of a tablespoon of salt. Okay, now it says to cut the butter into parts or use a grater and mix into the flour mixture. Combine until the mixture is crumbly. So, got my butter out. Let's do it. My phone ran out of storage and I was really worried that the butter was getting too warm. So I went ahead and poured the milk in. I used whole milk. They said to use buttermilk or whole milk was okay, but I couldn't find buttermilk at my local Aldi's, so whole milk is gonna have to be okay. So it said to mix it but not overwork the dough. This is what I'm left with. And now I'm gonna put it on here. We're gonna flour it and we're gonna roll it out and hope for the best. It says to do it 1 inch thick. I'm not really good with measurements. I don't think this is 1 inch. I think it's like 1/2 inch. But I also want to make more of them because this doesn't look like a lot at all. So we're gonna try it. Hopefully this won't be the thing that messes up this recipe. I'm gonna use this to cut them out. Also, I don't think I mixed the butter enough. There were chunks in the dough when I was making these biscuit shapes, but it's gonna be fine. So here they are. I'm gonna put them in for 10 minutes. I'm definitely gonna check on them because I guess they're not Obviously as thick as they should be. It says, until the tops turn golden brown. Wish me luck. Alright, about to get them out. Okay, actually I think they're okay, and they're also really tasty. That was a really buttery bite, so I'm super excited. It says to then, when they're still warm, put butter in between them so it'll melt, of course. So I'm gonna wait a little bit and then do that, and then I'll give you guys like the final taste. Okay, my bad, but I ate half of the biscuit while I was waiting. It was just so good. Honestly, I think these are better than biscuits I've had at most restaurants, even growing up in Texas. And I'm definitely not saying that to brag about myself. I think it's the recipe, really. I followed it to a T. I know that that's better with baking than cooking, which is good because I'm bad at estimating things. I have to do it like exactly as it says. But yeah, they're flaky, so flaky that when I was cutting them in half to put the butter in, like some of the tops were kind of falling apart, but not like they would break in half or something, like just super crumbly, like in a good way. Not, I've had biscuits before that were really dry or just tasted like flour, and these don't. It's like butter in every bite, but not overwhelming. Amazing, amazing. Would recommend trying this recipe. I put extra butter in this one because I had some left over. Oh my god. If you're from the South and you know about Chicken Express and their biscuits, that's how this tastes. So good. Thanks guys, I'm gonna finish this. I'll see you for the next book. So finally I read Sweetness and Lightning, which is a manga by Giro Amagakure, and I read volumes 1 through 3. This manga is about a father who's also a teacher at a high school, and he's a single dad. His wife passed away, and his daughter, I'm not sure exactly how old she is. I think she's around 5, in the 4 to 6 range. And so he's been raising her on his own, and he has basically been buying boxed lunches from the store for her, and he feels kind of bad about it. He is inspired to start cooking for her when he meets this girl who he later finds out is a student in one of his classes, and her mom owns a restaurant. But her mom is never really around, so she's also pretty alone. And she and he basically strike up this friendship where they bond through cooking together. So it starts off, it's just at her mother's restaurant. The teacher is very much trying not to be creepy or cross any boundaries, so that's really good because, well, I'm still not sure where this is gonna go, because the girl definitely, it's alluded to that she has a crush on him with some of the things she says, and so I'm not sure if it is going to turn into a romance. I really hope not. I hope that it's just like a found family thing. That's what it's been so far, but I guess we'll see. I don't know if I'll continue with it or not. They were cute books. It didn't have as much of a story as I would have liked. They're mostly recipe and like the characters cooking and following the recipes, and then at the end they show you the recipe, and there is some plot. Some volumes have more plot than others, but some things also just kind of skip around a lot, or I'm not exactly sure what's happening, how much time has passed, how they got from A to B, who certain people are. But so I would say it's like a 3 or 2.75. I think it's a fast read, so it's something that if I'm looking for a fast read, I might continue with. But the recipes all looked really good, so I'm excited to show you guys what I decided to make. Hello! Alright, you are in my kitchen window nook because that's where the light is coming from. So I decided to make a recipe from volume 3, chapter 10 of Sweetness and Lightning, and I looked it up. I believe it's pronounced Gohei Mochi, and I will show you. I have the little cheat sheet on my laptop here. Oh, there's a glare, I'm sorry, but this is kind of how the recipes look. And so I'm gonna be referring to that, and then I also found a person on Crunchyroll who has made this before using the recipe from the manga. Her name is Emily Bushman. And she was kind enough to post pictures and stuff, so maybe it's kind of cheating, but since I really have no idea what I was doing, and I really want this to turn out good, I'm gonna use all the help I can get. So right now I'm cooking some rice. Gohei Mochi is, from my understanding, at least in the manga, it's kind of like a carnival food. It's a sweet treat that's basically rice, almost like rice on a stick, but it's covered in this yummy mixture of walnuts and sesame and soy sauce and miso and mirin. So we are gonna try it out and see how it goes. All right, so we start with 2 tablespoons of walnuts. Thank goodness these were pre-chopped. And 1 tablespoon of white sesame seeds. This bag is upside down, but I decided to open it upside down, so there you go. And I've put them in this bowl here, and really it says to put them in like a mortar and pestle, but I don't have one, and honestly we don't have anything in this apartment that I'm aware of to smash these up, so I am going to be using a Lactaid pill bottle and my own brute force. I washed this with soap, so it's fine. It's fine. And apparently, if you grind it up enough, then that will help release the flavors. It says to grind until you can't see the seeds anymore. My arm is already hurting and I can still see the walnut. Would better tools help, or am I just weak? Probably both. I'll update you guys when I'm done with this task. I got so overzealous with the grinding that I spilled some. And on the ground too. Hopefully it wasn't too much. Just gonna move on. Okay, so I think I've done enough damage. It's relatively crushed. A lot of the seeds did actually, well, maybe not. Well, we'll see how it goes. The rice is done, so that's exciting. I had to use basmati rice because that was what we had here. So hopefully it will stick. I don't know if I should have gotten sushi rice or something. I didn't really think about that when I was in the store. We're gonna see how it goes. But they said if you squish it, Emily Bushman said if you grind the rice, basically. Oh, and it says it in these ingredient recipe too, that should help. So anyway, we're not onto that step yet. Right now, we're gonna add a tablespoon of miso, a tablespoon of soy sauce, a tablespoon of mirin, and 2 tablespoons of sugar.
Bensound.com. Bensound.com. bensound.com.
Slightly charred. Left a brave soul behind. Alright, I did as much as I could without them falling apart. And I'll put a picture up if you don't know what I'm talking about, but some of these look like little nudibranchs to me. You know what I'm talking about? The cute little one with the... I'll post it. So now, we're gonna dip it in there. We're gonna put it over the fire again. Hope for the best. Alright, every time I tried to put it over the heat, the rice fell apart and the mixture just made it fall apart faster. I think because it was like, it got all dried out from the flame and then it was wetting it. And so I just gave up and I've just been eating these cold. The mixture still tastes good. I know I'm not doing them justice, and I have to eat them off the stick because they won't stay. But it's like sweet and salty, of course. I can taste the soy salt, but a lot sweeter than I thought it would be. I really like it. So I'm sure the real thing is awesome. But we tried, so that's what matters, right? So that's the end of this vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun, even though I only had one success out of the 3, and I still think that the biscuits probably, like, they tasted great, but they probably could have looked better if I was more skilled. I think the other recipes, like I said, it was not their fault, it was my fault. I'm not a great cook. I'm working on it though. And now I just know that I need to not substitute ingredients and make sure I follow the recipes to the letter. Or maybe that's my problem, I don't know. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you want me to do any more videos like this. I have some ideas to make it kind of a series. And let me know if you've made any of these recipes. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!